Hello, welcome to Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why, and how of newspaper reading. Today, we are going to discuss the new daily edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 10th February 2019. The news to be discussed has been presented on the screen, and timestamping for the same has been provided in the description box below. So, let's start our today's discussion. The first news appears on page number 10 in section 2 of the Hindu newspaper. The news says scientists perform first in body gene editing. It may help in treating many diseases caused by faulty DNA. Now, this article highlights about gene editing being done by scientists inside a human body. And this gene editing leads to altering of DNA in adults to treat diseases. However, the news highlights that as of now it's too early to predict its success with respect to gene editing inside the human body, as future consequences are yet not known. Despite its unknown futuristic prospects, scientists have still tried to cure Hunter disease by gene editing inside a human body. Now, this topic becomes important because questions have been asked by UPSC previously on the concept of gene editing. In your prelims examination, this topic forms a part of general science. Now, these two questions were asked in the year 2018 and 2013. 2013, the question was with respect to genetic engineering, and in 2018, a question was asked on CRISPR-Cas9, which is a form of gene editing. So, first of all, let us understand the concept of gene editing, including CRISPR as well as Hunter syndrome, as highlighted in this news, and then we'll try and solve these two questions asked previously in the UPSC examination. Now, in simple terms, gene editing allows scientists to change an organism's DNA. And this gene editing is done by using various technologies which allows genetic material to be added, removed, or altered at particular locations in the genome. Now, genome is an organism's complete set of DNA, including all of its genes. Each genome contains all of the information needed to build and maintain that organism. So, gene editing allows change in an organism's DNA by either adding, removing, or altering the genetic material of the organism. Now, several approaches to gene editing have been developed. However, a recent one known as CRISPR, associated protein 9 nuclease, that is Cas9, is a more accurate and efficient process of gene editing as compared to other methods. Now, CRISPR-Cas9 system consists of two molecules that introduce a change into the DNA. First, an enzyme, that is Cas9, acts as a pair of molecular scissors that cuts the two strands of DNA at a specific location in the genome so that bits of DNA can then be added or either removed. The second molecule is a piece of RNA called the guide RNA. Now, this guide DNA is designed to find and bind to a specific sequence in the DNA which are cut through the molecular scissors. So, basically, Cas9 protein acts as a molecular scissors to cut the faulty DNA. Now, this gene editing in human body is still at a very nascent stage, as its future consequences are yet unknown. So, basically, there are safety concerns as well as certain ethical concerns with respect to its future uses. So, in this news, this concept of gene editing inside the body was done for the disease known as Hunter's disease. So, in this analysis, let us also understand certain basics about Hunter disease. Now, in Hunter's syndrome, the body does not have enough iduronate 2 sulfatase enzyme. Now, the job of this enzyme is to break down certain complex molecules inside the human body, including complex sugar compounds. However, because of lack of this particular enzyme, the compounds start accumulating in the body, which becomes extremely harmful. And excess accumulation of such complex compounds can also lead to death of people. Now, buildup of these complex compounds impacts or affects a person's appearance, mental development, organ functioning, as well as physical activities. So, as per this news, patients are receiving gene editing for this Hunter's syndrome. Now, after understanding the concepts of gene editing, let us also go through some of the benefits of this process of gene editing. First of all, it helps in curing various diseases. So, by eliminating genes that causes disease, doctors can treat a wide range of illness from heart disease to Alzheimer's as well as certain blood diseases. Curing of these diseases will further help in cancer therapeutics as well as drug research. Through gene editing, scientists may stop diseases being genetically transferred from the parents to the offspring. And recently, experiments with respect to CRISPR have showed that it can edit embryonic genes among pigs. Further, it can help in saving endangered species. Next, gene editing will help in growth in food production as well as it will help in increasing the quality of food. Further, it will help in creating pest resistant crops. Gene editing may also help in resurrecting extinct species. So, these can be said to be some of the benefits of gene editing. However, there are still certain negatives involved in the process of gene editing. As mentioned earlier, safety concerns as well as ethical concerns still remain as a negative impact of gene editing. Because the research with respect to gene editing, even with respect to CRISPR technology, is still at its very nascent stage. So we are yet to know about the futuristic development of this gene editing process. Now, after our discussion, let's come back to these questions asked by UPSC in the year 2018 as well as 2013. Let's start with question of 2013. It says, recombinant DNA technology, that is genetic engineering, allows genes to be transferred. First, across different species of plants. Second, from animals to plants. Third, from microorganisms to higher organisms. In this, all the three statements are correct. Hence, D is our correct answer. It said, consider the following pairs. First, Ballet 2 experiment, artificial intelligence. No, Ballet 2 experiment is with respect to particle physics. Second, blockchain technology, digital cryptocurrency. Yes. Third, CRISPR Cas9, particle physics. No. We know that CRISPR Cas9 is with respect to gene editing. So in this, only the second statement is correct. So the correct answer here was B, that is 2 only. So we understand that various aspects of gene editing has been asked by UPSC in the previous examinations. Hence, in this aspect, gene editing, including CRISPR, still becomes a relevant subject with respect to our upcoming examination. With this, let's move on to our next news analysis. The next news appears on page number 8 in section 1 of the Hindu newspaper. It says, Dwindling Anglo-Indian families face identity crisis. Now this news highlights about the declining members of the Anglo-Indian community. And this declining members of this Anglo-Indian community has created a sort of identity crisis for the members of Anglo-Indian community. So from our prelims perspective, we must know about the constitutional provisions about Anglo-Indian community. Now this news in your prelims examination forms a part of Indian polity and governance. Now Article 366 Clause 2 of the Indian Constitution defines an Anglo-Indian. So according to Article 366 Clause 2, an Anglo-Indian means a person whose father or male progenitors in the male line is or was of European descent but who is domiciled within the territory of India, and such person is or was born within such territory of parents habitually resident therein and should not have established there for temporary purpose. So basically this is what has been defined under the Indian Constitution with respect to Anglo-Indian. It says that a person whose father or any of the male progenitors in the male line is or was of the European descent but was domiciled within the territory of India, and such person is or was born within such territory of parents habitually resident therein and not established for temporary purpose. So these facts about Anglo-Indian person becomes important from your prelims perspective. Now the Constitution of India also provides for representation of Anglo-Indian community in House of People as well as in the legislative assemblies of the state. And both these provisions have been defined under Article 331 and Article 333 respectively. So it says that if the President of India is of the opinion that Anglo-Indian community is not adequately represented in the House of the People, then the President may nominate not more than 2 members of that community to the House of the People. So not more than 2 members of the Anglo-Indian community can be nominated to the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. Similarly, Article 333 says that if the governor of a state is of the opinion that the Anglo-Indian community needs representation in the legislative assembly of the state and they are not adequately represented, then the governor can nominate one member of that community to the assembly. So, according to Article 333, if the governor is of the opinion that members of Anglo-Indian community needs representation, then he may nominate one member of the Anglo-Indian community to the Legislative Assembly. So, these are the two important provisions with respect to representation of Anglo-Indian community in House of the People, that is Lok Sabha, as well as in the legislative assemblies of the state. Thus, these are some of the important facts which you must remember with respect to Anglo-Indian community from your prelims perspective. With this, let's move on to our next news analysis. Now, the next news appears as a picture titled as Making of a Maestro. In this picture, it highlights about the Kathakali dance, where a Kathakali maestro who plays the character of Nala from Kathakali classic Nala Charitham gets ready to perform third part of the play in Kochi. So in this news, let us understand certain basic facts with respect to Kathakali, which is a classical dance of India. Now this topic in your prelims examination forms a part of history and culture. So it says that Kathakali has evolved from many social and religious theatricals from Kerala. So this point becomes relevant that Kathakali originated in Kerala. Now the word Katha means story and Kali means drama. Therefore, it represents the presentation of a story in the form of drama. Kathakali is a blend of dance, music, acting, and dramatizes the stories which are mostly adapted from Indian epics. So, Kathakali is mainly a blend of dance, music, and acting, where it dramatizes stories which are mostly adapted from Indian epics. Now, Kathakali is primarily noted for the attractive makeup of characters, elaborate costumes, detailed gestures, as well as well defined body movements. So, these can be said to be some of the essential features of Kathakali dance. That is, the dance drama is noted mainly for attractive makeup of characters, elaborate costumes, detailed gestures, as well as well defined body movements. And in those detailed gestures, the greater emphasis is on eye and eyebrow movements to reflect emotions. So, this again becomes an extremely important point to remember from a prelims perspective, that in Kathakali, the emphasis with respect to detailed gestures is on eye as well as eyebrow movements to reflect various forms of emotions. Now, in Kathakali, we find elaborate facial makeup with headgear. Further, the green facial makeup denotes divinity and nobility. As you can see in this picture, the green color represents divinity as well as nobility, whereas the red patches beside the nose reflects royalty, and wickedness and cruelty is represented through black makeup. So these are some of the important aspects with respect to Kathakali dance. Moving further, the Ministry of Culture has defined 9 dances of India as classical dance. They are Bharatnatyam of Tamil Nadu, Manipuri dance of Manipur, Kathak from northern India, mainly from UP, MP, Rajasthan, and Delhi, Odissi dance from Orissa, Kathakali from Kerala, then Mohini Nattam again from Kerala, Kuchipudi mainly from Andhra Pradesh, Satariya dance from Assam, and Chau dance from Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Orissa. So these are 9 classical dances as categorized by Ministry of Culture. From your prelims perspective, you must remember these 9 dances which has been categorized as classical dance. Now this picture also highlights about a classic Nalacharitham. Now Nalacharitham is a Kathakali play written by Unnavi warrior, and this play is based on Mahabharata. Now the Nalacharitham play tells the story of King Nalam and his consort Damayanti. The Nalacharitam play consists of 4 parts. Now it says that the maestro gets ready to play the character of Nala from the Kathakali classic Nalacharitam and gets ready to perform the third part of the play. So all these informations with respect to Nalacharitam becomes important from your prelims perspective, as questions on culture may be asked in your upcoming examination. Thus, this picture highlighting about Kathakali dance becomes extremely important from our upcoming examination. With this, let's move on to our next news analysis. The next news appears on page number 1. It says, as new cases rise, leprosy in spotlight. Government views detection of leprosy as a sign of better disease management. Now, in this news, almost 15 years after India was declared leprosy free, there is again a rise in the number of recorded leprosy cases in India. As you can see in this picture, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and Jharkhand are the leprosy hotspots of India, which accounts for maximum number of prevalent cases of this disease. Now, such high incidence of leprosy in such areas can be primarily attributed to high population density, poor sanitation, and inadequate access to nutrition. Now, this topic in your prelims examination forms a part of social issues, and in your mains, it gets covered under GS paper 2, primarily under welfare schemes for the vulnerable sections of the population as well as issues relating to health. Now, these rising cases of leprosy is being viewed by the government officials as silver linings. As rising cases of leprosy means that more and more cases of such cases are both detected as well as reported. And according to the government officials, both detection as well as reporting of such incidents of leprosy are important as this can change the strategy of the government to fight further instances of leprosy cases in India. And this new strategy of the government will also help in fulfilling the goals of World Health Organization, which has set goal of zero children with leprosy and deformities by the year 2020 and goal of less than one patient per million for other newly diagnosed patients. On this note, let us go through the aim of new strategy with respect to detection as well as reporting of such cases of leprosy in India. The first among the new strategy is with respect to tackling issues of non-reporting of the diseases, that is, non-reporting of the cases of leprosy. Now, most of these cases are not reported because of fear of social stigma attached with the cases of leprosy. So, the official plans to have a new disease management effort. So, this disease management efforts now include going down to the village level in what is called the active seeking mode for cases. So in such active seeking mode, health workers goes from house to house and physically examine people for leprosy patch. Now earlier many cases were not reported because people due to fear, social stigma and also lack of awareness with respect to leprosy did not report such cases of leprosy. The second effort with respect to disease management is a greater focus on children, as there is an element of risk in late detection with respect to leprosy cases in children. As it has been noticed that parents hide the disease of their children, especially the girl child, till handicap sets in. Further, disability in children has a longer lifespan and it can also hamper their quality of life. Hence, special emphasis is now being given on children with respect to not only early detection but also intervention in such cases. Further, the health workers are spreading public awareness among the school going children with respect to developing a positive attitude towards detection of such cases and also with respect to treatment of such cases of leprosy. So, these can be said to be a part of new strategy applied by the government officials with respect to not only early detection of cases of leprosy but also providing them proper treatment at right time. Now, leprosy is a chronic disease caused by a bacteria which multiplies slowly. So, this becomes important to understand from our prelims perspective that leprosy is a chronic disease caused by a bacteria. The incubation period of the disease on an average is 5 years. Now, because of this long incubation period of this disease, it becomes difficult not only to detect but also to eradicate the disease completely. Now, leprosy mainly affects the skin, the peripheral nerves, mucosa of the upper respiratory tract, and also the eyes. Further, it is transmitted via droplets from the nose and mouth and during close and frequent contacts with untreated cases. Further, it says that untreated leprosy can cause progressive and permanent damage to the skin, nerves, limbs, and even eyes. Hence, it is a very deadly disease which must be not only detected in time but also eradicated completely. Further, it says that it is curable with multi drug therapy. The National Leprosy Eradication Program is a centrally sponsored health scheme of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. However, this National Leprosy Eradication Program is implemented by the states and the Union Territory. The NLEP is also supported by the World Health Organization, the ILEP, that is International Federation of Anti-Leprosy Associations, as well as other non-government organizations. Now, the objectives of National Leprosy Eradication Program includes early detection through active surveillance by the trained health workers, regular treatment of cases by providing the multi-drug therapy at centers in nearby village of moderate to low endemic areas or districts. Further, intensified health education and public awareness campaigns, which we have already seen with respect to the new strategy adopted by the government for early detection as well as prevention of cases of leprosy, and also to provide appropriate medical rehabilitation. So these can be said to be the objectives of National Leprosy Eradication Program. As per National Leprosy Eradication Program, India achieved the goal of elimination of leprosy as a public health problem, as there were less than one case per 10,000 population till December 2005. However, with the rising cases of leprosy again, the government has come up with new strategies where it aims to tackle issues of non-reporting of the diseases and also aims to focus more on children for early detection and intervention, as well as public awareness among children with respect to not only detection but also treatment of the disease. Thus, this particular news on leprosy as a social issue becomes extremely important from our upcoming examination. With this, let's move on to our next news analysis. The next news appears on page number 10. It reads, Push for generous rehab scheme for Naga cadres. Parliamentary panel wants early talks. Now in this news, a parliamentary panel has recommended the Ministry of Home Affairs to prepare a detailed and generous rehabilitation cum settlement scheme for the cadres of NSCN-IM, that is National Socialist Council of Nagaland IM. Now it is the NSCN-IM that signed the Naga Framework Agreement with the central government in 2015. So on this note, let us learn certain basic facts with respect to this Naga Framework Agreement which the NSCN-IM signed with the central government in 2015. Now this topic forms a part of GS Paper 3 under Internal Security. While framing the agreement, the Government of India gave due regard to the uniqueness of Naga history as well as tradition, and also had a broader understanding of settlement within the Indian constitutional framework. An important aspect for this framework agreement was that it did accept the special status for the Nagas. Now, the specific details of the agreement are yet unknown, but essentially the Naga settlement had two dimensions, one geographical and the other political. Now, this geographical dimension relates to unification of all contiguous Naga areas across the northeast, including Assam, Manipur, and Arunachal Pradesh. And this is also a part of the demand with respect to Greater Nagaland. The other aspect is the political aspect, that is, the nature of relationship that the Nagas wants to establish with India. It is on this aspect that several groups and individuals, especially from Nagaland, have questioned the secrecy around this 2015 framework agreement and have said that its various terms and conditions needs to be discussed and debated. So there are certain secrecy around this Naga framework agreement. Now there are two contentious issues which still remains. First of all is the signing of Nagaland Peace Accord, and second is that of the idea of Greater Nagaland as proposed by NSCN-IM, which consists of all Naga inhabited areas, including certain areas of Assam, Manipur as well as Arunachal Pradesh. So it is in this aspect that signing of Nagaland Peace Accord becomes extremely important. Since this news is in transition, so let's wait for further development on this particular news. Now after our discussions, these forms your practice question for the day. What you can do is to take a pause of 5 seconds. First, consider the following statements about Kathakali. First, it is a highly stylized classical Indian dance drama noted for attractive makeup of characters, elaborate costumes, detailed gestures, as well as defined body movements. Yes, this is correct as we have seen. Nala Charitam is a Kathakali play written by Unnavi Warrior. Yes, this statement is also correct. The question is, which of the statements given above are incorrect? Please read these statements very carefully. So in this, D is the correct answer since both the statements are correct. Coming to the second question, it says, which of the following are classical dances of India? First, Bharatnatyam, yes. Second, Kathakali, yes. Third, Kuchipudi, yes. Fourth, Pungcholom, no. So in this, only 1, 2 and 3 are the correct answer. That is, they are the classical dances of India. So in this, C becomes our correct answer. Now these are your next practice questions for the day. What you can do is to take a pause of 5 seconds. It says, which of the following can be said to be the benefits of gene editing? First, curing disease, yes. Second, developing pest resistant crops, yes. Third, increasing quality of food, yes. Fourth, prevention of genetic transfer of diseases, yes. In this, all the 4 statements are correct. So here, D is a correct answer. The fourth question says, consider the following statements about Anglo-Indians. First, the president may nominate not more than 2 members in Lok Sabha if the community is not adequately represented. Yes, the statement is correct. Second, the governor may nominate not more than 2 members in state legislative assembly if the community is not adequately represented. No, the statement is incorrect, as the governor may nominate not more than 1 member in state legislative assembly belonging to the Anglo-Indian community. In case the governor is of the opinion that they needs representation in the state legislative assembly. So in this, the second statement is incorrect. So here A is the correct answer, that is 1 only. With this, we come to an end to discussion of today's newspaper. Let's move on to the question for the day.